Arsenal versus Wolves was a fantastic game tactically. I feel like the game was won by such fine margins, and it just shows the level that the Premier League is at right now. There's not many, there's not many differences between the top teams and the teams in those middle, sort of areas of the table. In today's video, I'm just going to be showing how Arsenal tactically exploited Wolves, and I thought it was a really good game. But before I begin, if you are new here, please smash the subscribe button, smash the like button, and turn on those notifications. It will be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's get on with it. And you'll see here this weird little tactics thing I've tried to do. So you've got Doherty, Mosquera, Totti Gomez, and Ait-Nouri. It was a block of 4-4-2 for Wolves defensively. I just want to clarify that. A lot of teams use this structure defensively. We use it as well. We normally have Ødegaard and Havertz, the two at the front pressing. They're our best pressers. And with Wolves, it was Bellegarde. He's their best presser. So there was no surprise for him to be, part of the front two to try and press up against us and get higher up the pitch. So as I was saying, you got Doherty, Mosquera, and Totti Gomez and Ait-Nouri in their block of 4 defensive, really trying to stop, balls coming through the, to Havertz, the number 9, into White, into that Saka area, into the Ødegaard. They wanted to stop that ball even getting into this sort of zone where we see Gabriel Martinelli, where we see Rice, where we see Ødegaard, where we see Saka, where we see White. So the game was pretty much split into 4 parts. It was Arsenal in this third, just in front of the Totti Gomez line. Then you had, this kind of congestion between Gomez, Zinchenko, Partey and Lemina. It was a massive battle in that midfield. Who could get the upper hand? Who could have the quality on the ball? Who could be, just better all round in that midfield area? Then, of course, you have the 2 centre-backs who are just dealt with these two so well. Gabriel and Saliba absolutely gobbled up Bellegarde and Strand Larsen. So that was pretty much an irrelevant battle in the game. I think we really won that. When we go head-to-head, duel against duel, the Arsenal centre-backs dealt really well with Bellegarde and Strand Larsen on the press. I know a couple of times, Wolverhampton Wanderers did get us. They did get us a couple of times. Saliba gave the ball away. Zinchenko as well, when he dropped into this area and the ball was in the air here, he was really struggling. He'd headed into this zone, and Wolves were really marking this zone so well. They got so many bodies around this zone, and it was so hard for Arsenal to defend against. But I feel like in the grand scheme of the game, how tight it was, Arsenal did really well to try and stop Wolves playing once they regained that ball in that Hwang, João Gomez, Lemina and Rodrigo Gomez sort of zone. Because if you give those players, any sniff from the press, they're going to just go straight on you. And I saw that a couple of times in the game where Wolves did that really well. But in terms of the game as a whole, it was evenly matched when we're looking at it from this zone sort of point of view. But where the game kind of got close is where the game was kind of won is through transitions. It was definitely through the transitions. You'll see any loose balls that were picked up by Arsenal and we, went on a little bit of a counter-attack. That's where the game was won. That's where Saka's goal came from. Partey won a free kick in this zone. He played it quickly out to Kai Havertz, who had dropped here. Havertz was into there. Then Saka found some space in between this Totti Gomez and Ait-Nouri sort of line. It was a really nice stuff because Lemina was out the game. Gomez was out the game. This Gomez was out the game. Hwang was out the game. So it was essentially a 4, I think Ødegaard was out of the game as well. Rice was in back there. So it was almost essentially a 4 versus 4. And Saka has the quality and, the ability to know what to do in this area. So hence he just scored, smashed it near post. But it's because we overload them, this is quick thinking. This is how top teams operate. Quick, we won a free kick. Okay, we could dilly-dally. No, Thomas Partey has the awareness. Let me play this ball forward. Let me get us on the break. Havertz picked up a really nice pocket of space. Found Saka, who, a moment of brilliance to score the goal. And that's where the games are going to be won in the Premier League. The teams are so competitive now. You can't just rely on, oh, City have a better squad than you. Arsenal have a better squad. They're going to win. No, it's not as easy as that. The technical quality of the league has gone up and the physical quality of the league has gone up as well. So these little moments in the game are so important. And that's why I kind of don't get the Thomas Partey, sort of violations from Arsenal fans. Okay, he wasn't great. He gave the ball away a lot. But in the moments where we needed him to be on it, he was on it. He was involved in being a match winner in that game. That is without a shadow of a doubt. His part he played in the game, how he operated there to give the ball into Kai Havertz, to get quickly, to get us onto that break. That is all part of, his performance. And we've got to look at the positive sometimes. First 90 minutes, I've talked about Partey needing rhythm. It's normal for him to struggle, So I don't really get the sort of Havertz violations, not the Havertz, the Thomas Partey violations, when he kind of performed well when he had his moments as well. He had some really nice line-breaking passes. I give you another example. Let me just move everyone back a little bit. So it was tricky for us. It was really tricky for us. Declan Rice was trying to get into this little gap. You see, João Gomez and Hwang were working really well to try and not let Zinchenko put this sort of ball through the gap here. They didn't want this ball to go into there. And that's fair enough. That's how Wolves are going to operate. Once the ball goes through the lines, you're dead. And Ødegaard, you know, this is where I thought it was brilliant in the game, really. He then noticed, okay, I'm not getting any joy from the ball coming into this zone where I'm with Saka, White, and White. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move into here. Now you have to worry about two players in that zone. Now Hwang and Gomez are struggling. Lemina would have to come over. And they would have to try and really block that space. But that's when Saka then had, you know, the decency of mind. If you watch the game back, the positions, the rotations, it was beautiful. Saka would find himself in this, you know, right number 8 role where we associate Ødegaard. And then it's Ben White holding the width. Martinelli, of course, was against Doherty the whole game. It was basically a duel. It wasn't a successful duel for Martinelli. He didn't really perform as well as you wanted him to do against Doherty. But when we're looking at the Rice, Ødegaard, Saka, White and Havertz rotations, it was absolutely incredible. And this sort of battle for, you know, Zinchenko and Thomas Partey to try and find a ball between the lines. Sometimes even Bellegarde would notice, okay, I need to now come into this shape and stop it, because it was so easy at times to try and find this ball, whether it's from Partey splitting it into there, whether it's from Zinchenko splitting it into there. Arsenal were really working it well in a couple of instances in the game, and it was really a joy to watch. It was such a hard game, you know. Wolves are a top opposition, really good manager in O'Neill. They marked the spaces so well. You know, Bellegarde, I said he would be in the 4-4-2. If he recognises the press, he hasn't won it from the press, he has the energy to then go and form a 5 in that midfield, and then you can't really play through a 5. It's all about, can you find space? Have you got the brains for it? And, you know, sometimes it worked for us, sometimes it didn't. And that's what made the game so difficult for us to play in. But some really, really, really good stuff in the game. And I just want to quickly talk about, you know, the build-up, because it was quite interesting. The build-up and how we built up was quite interesting. Of course, you had the centre-half splitting, White in there. You know, Zinchenko would come into this zone. Ødegaard would obviously try and come and receive it in there. And I think the position of Rice was so interesting, really interesting in this game. You know, let's just bring back everybody. Let's try and get rid of the lines. There we go. It was interesting. It was very interesting, the position of Declan Rice, because he just really wasn't involved in the build-up at all. And is that a sort of sign for what's to come? Arteta with Marino coming to the club. Does Arteta not trust Declan Rice to do the build-up? Because he was so far away from it. I was kind of like, okay, this is sort of odd. It was almost like Zinchenko was playing the left centre mid. We know he does that. And then Rice was almost in that sort of, you know, second striker role that we saw Xhaka play in the title charge season, the first one that we had. But the build-up was all up to Ødegaard, Partey and Zinchenko. And sometimes it would be successful. Sometimes we'd be really, really pressed in this zone here. Gomez in there. Hwang would be up here, in there. It's really, really, really hard for us to get out. Look at Bellegarde, look at Strand Larsen, look at Rodrigo Gomez, look at Hwang, look at João Gomez, look at Lemina. They really have tried to come in and squeeze this press a lot of times in the game. And there was times where Partey would struggle. There was times when Saliba would receive it. And then I think he played it straight into Cunha. This was in the second half, you know, because Ødegaard was in here, Partey was here, and we gave it away into this little zone there, and Wolves were able to drive. This was Cunha, of course. Raya saved it. So it showed that the press from Wolves really did give us problems, and this is what I mean where I do not like our build-up from that first game at all. And I feel like that's the pressing issue of needing a number 8 like Marino, somebody who can come and help with the build-up, because as Zinchenko, Partey and Ødegaard sort of build-up isn't working. It's not going to work against many of the teams. We're going to find ourselves giving away many chances, and I'm sure Arteta has noticed this, and this is why we're signing Marino, because we need to have this sort of security in our build-up, because that's how we score goals. Once we get past the press of the team, we're in. And sometimes we did it in the game, but far too many times it failed. And it's something to consider. Maybe Rice in that number 6 instead of Partey, and then Marino is doing the build-up stuff is better. Because when Rice isn't affecting the game, isn't in the build-up, it's not because, well, it's not good. because Declan Rice needs to develop his on-the-ball skills. He's not going to do that if he's far away from the build-up. If he wants to be our number 6, which Arteta wants to happen, he needs to start learning to be involved in the build-up. So get him closer, get Partey out the team if that's how you want, you know, if you really, really want to see Rice improve on his on-the-ball skills. Bring Rice here to do the Partey job in the build-up. Then you have Marino coming in where Partey is and helping with it. So there's many problems with it. With the Rice thing, if Rice isn't going to be involved in build-up, on the ball, how is he going to improve? If he's not having the opportunity to come and learn to build up, it's not great at all. And then B, having Odegaard this deep, is it really his best role? Isn't he better in the final third, operating in those little pockets of space? Are we wasting him? Is he going to lose the energy to then go forward, having to do the build-up? There's a lot to consider, and Mikel Arteta is still trying to work out how he wants his midfield to work, but we need it sorted out within the next 2-3 weeks because we have some massive, massive games. But anyway, Gunners, that's it for now. Let me know your thoughts on the game against Wolves. I thought it was a pretty decent performance, but there was a lot to learn from the game. And until next time, Gunners, peace.